Got Dr. Mike Prince. Got the guru, part-time referee on the line with me, Coach Van Pettaway. Coach, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. It's a great day here in Huntsville, Alabama. We got some fantastic weather, and it's all about basketball this time of the year. High school teams in playoffs right now in the state of Alabama, and then we've got maybe 5 to 6 games left in the SWAC before the SWAC tournament. So it's a great time
Coach,
for basketball.
It's a great time, but it seems like the lights are getting dim in my beloved Panther Nation. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but I don't even know where we should begin, Coach. We're in the final stretch, but, man, we've had some peculiar behavior to spill out onto the court and the public eye, I should say, because it's nothing new with teammates going at each other, but in a public event to come to exchange of blows, what went through your head, Coach? What were you saying while this was unfolding in front of
you? Well, while the broadcast was going on, and what had just happened, they just hit a 3, and they called a timeout, and then it was just total chaos on the bench. At first, I thought a fan was involved, but it was. It's hard to explain it. I was just in shock. In fact, I was speechless on air when it was happening, and then when I saw our security people grabbing people, and then you had to have 2 or 3 security people on one person. That was. But they got them out of the arena in a nice fashion and in an honorable way. But it's not, and it's not just the SWAC. Now, you know, ESPN has been running what happened in the Southland now. The Southland, but that was 2 teams going against each other. But behavior at basketball games has been at a premium this year. And I was just, sort of disappointed in what took place. I was disappointed for both for Arkansas Pine Bluff and for the SWAC.
Yes, sir.
It was had nothing to do with the ladies from Alabama A&M. It was an internal altercation, and I thought the referees handled the situation well. It was only like 26 seconds left in the game. There was no chance of Arkansas Pine Bluff coming back to win it, so they just called the game at that point, and I think that was the right thing to do.
Right. And for those who are in the dark about this conversation, forgive me, there was let's say, an agreement to disagreement moment between teammates on the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff women's program, and as a result, the game was suspended with A&M being awarded the win because there was only 26 seconds left.
Correct. And
as I stated, Coach, you've been a coach, old player, and myself as well. There have always been, as they say, in-house grumblings, between players, which some coaches like because it brings the team together and it builds, a somewhat of a bond between teams. But to see it spill out like it did, as you say, you were in shock and awe. Did Coach Thornton look surprised, or how did she handle the situation?
Well, she and her staff, they tried their best to separate the players, but one young lady was so enraged, she was pushing them out the way. So it was she was in shock. I don't think, in all my years of coaching, I've had players go after each other because they're competing for either the same position on the court, and it's always done in practice. And then in as a coach, you get on top of that because what is happening, the competitive nature of your athletes comes out, and a lot of times that's a good thing. That's a good thing because what they're telling each other, hey man, I'm here. We're going for the same position. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Now that builds the depth for your team, and a lot of times it does exactly what you just said. It brings the squad closer together. Now on the men's side, one thing that I have experienced over the years, this has happened to me twice. if two players are trying to date the same female, that would tell a men's team more than anything.
Yes, sir.
Fisticuffs in practice over a hard foul or wanting to be the top dog or the alpha dog, that doesn't tear your team up like if a female is involved.
Right.
And
well,
so last night, Dr. Prince, it was just indescribable, and I hate it happen.
Yes, sir. And we're not going to prolong this, but when it happens, we dare not talk about it, right? Because it's part of what we do over here. But like I say, you're not glorifying in it. And like you said, there are other teams that are doing this, other programs that have the same struggle, conferences. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
Right. It doesn't matter about the ethnic background or makeup of an individual. This is just a human situation that imploded, and it just happened to be in the public's viewpoint. Well, with all that being said, Coach, I know somebody that's got to fight literally to stay alive, and that's my beloved Panthers, man. Oh, yeah.
Right.
What is going on, Coach? I'm over. If I had hair, I'd pull it out, Coach. But well, I don't have no hair.
On the women's side, and the reason why I was so disappointed last night is because Arkansas Pine Bluff is in third place on the women's side. They're 9-4. They have a winning record. They had some great great pre-conference wins, and just to see that makes you wonder why. That the first thing out of my mouth was why, when you got a good squad. Then
the timing of it is horrible.
Correct. They played without Davenport last night. She's in concussion protocol, so she did not play against Alabama A&M. That's one of their better players. So they gave that kind of effort last night without one of their better players on the floor, and then this happened. So you're in third place. Jackson State is still leading third. They're undefeated, 13-0 in the league. Grambling at 10-3. Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Southern both at 9-4. So they're sharing that third spot. And then Alabama A&M is next at 7-6. Florida A&M is 6-7. And here's the log jam: Bethune-Cookman, Prairie View, Alcorn State. They're all 5-8. They're 5-8. So now the season, it's not over with for your Lady Panthers, but the fat lady is headed toward the piano. But
sir.
She's not singing yet, so it's still they should still have at least 5 games left to play. So there's still an opportunity for them, if the schedule's in their favor, for them to play teams that are above them, and then all you got to do is beat them.
Well, Coach, here's the challenge, and you just mentioned there are 5 games, but they're not 5 regular games they have left. They're going against this weekend Arkansas Pine Bluff, which is going to be a critical game, and Mississippi Valley. Okay. Now, if I was just being a logical thinker, I would have to say they can come 1-1 this weekend.
They got to go 2-0.
I know. No. I said they could come 1-1.
Right.
But they need to go 2-0.
2-0. Correct.
Right. Okay. Then your next week would be at home against Jackson State and Alcorn.
You got
Coach.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, theoretically, we need both of them.
Right.
But let's be honest, Jackson State is a buzzsaw right now.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a split. Then you close against Texas Southern. From the females' perspective, I feel good about their chances against Texas Southern. Okay, but it will be a rival game.
Yep.
And it's a road trip for you. So that can go any way. And when you look at, like you say, they're behind, they have one person that's in their pathway, that they can really control, and that's how they fare off against Alcorn.
Correct. Yep. So, see, they're still they're not eliminated yet. They still have a shot at making that tournament.
Well, let me help you like this.
This is the time of year you need to be you need to have consistency.
I need
That's the most important
consistency.
thing. Yep.
And I need the teacher to have mercy and go on a curve if I'm trying to pass a class. That's where we are. And I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything, but that's just where it is, Coach. I need some help right now.
Yep.
I need some serious help. And what you know, it's rough. And we'll get to the men in a minute.
Yep.
It's rough, man.
See, this past weekend was just, I don't know. I just thought that some of the teams played the way they were supposed to, some didn't, and we just all over the place when it comes to basketball this past weekend. Grambling State beat Texas Southern. Okay, I expected that. Alabama A&M beat Mississippi Valley 64-51. I expected that because they were at home. Alcorn State. Now, I'm going to be honest. I did not expect Alcorn State to beat Bethune. I thought Bethune could go on the road. But Alcorn beat Bethune 51-40 last Saturday. And then Jackson State just wore out Florida A&M 71-44.
Yes, sir.
Arkansas Pine Bluff went into Montgomery and beat Alabama State 70-47. And then, of course, Southern beat your Panthers 75-68. Now,
yes,
that was Saturday. On Monday, Alcorn State stepped it up and beat Florida A&M 64-49. We've talked about A&M and Arkansas Pine Bluff. They won that game 67-59. Here's, to me, the upset. Mississippi Valley goes into Montgomery and beats Bama State 67-59. And then Jackson, at home, took care of Bethune-Cookman 52-39. Grambling beat your Lady Panthers 64-55. And Southern beat Texas Southern 68-52. So
yes,
now,
sir.
doing that, I thought everything was okay in terms of games that teams that were supposed to win. I thought they did a pretty good job.
Okay. See, you say that things went okay for your Bulldogs, not for my family.
No. But look, I didn't expect your Panthers. I'm gonna be honest now. I thought Southern was a better team. I'm sorry. I thought Grambling was a better team. Now,
well, I accept that, Coach, but with the urgency and the time of season that we're in, I just thought it would have been a little extra. Now, for whatever reason, it could be because when you play against your old team, you sometimes overemphasize the need or importance of that win, and Prairie View has struggled against Southern since Coach Pugh has been on board. That's been a given. That's a proven fact. But they always seem to balance out, even when Grambling is thriving. They seem to do okay against Grambling. But I really had a lot of hopes in that Grambling game. I really did. I won't short you on that because the need of where we are. And they're still in the 8th spot, okay, which is good, but with the schedule that remains, man, I'm really, really wobbly at the knees right about now.
Well, let me just say this. With your Panthers going into Pine Bluff, that's going to be a depleted roster. I guarantee you there are going to be some suspensions coming from that.
Okay, Coach. Now you just brought up something. Now, I know fighting is not approved, but they were fighting each other. It wasn't like they were fighting other teammates. Do you think suspensions will come in-house or at least sit them down?
It has to. Hold up now. You're representing not only your institution. Hold up. This should come both ways. The institution should have penalties along with the SWAC because now you're representing both entities and you have embarrassed them. So there's got to be something. It's got to start with the coaches and the ADs at Prairie View. And then I think the conference has to step in.
At Pine Bluff, you were saying?
Correct. Yes, I'm sorry. At Pine Bluff. Yeah, I think they have to step up. That team is going to be short Saturday. Watch what I tell you. You can't do that.
I'll take a forfeit, Coach.
No. I don't think it's going to be a forfeit because I only think there's no more than 2 or 3 kids involved. And remember, Davenport wasn't even on the trip. So she, in concussion protocol, she should be ready to go this Saturday. So that adds a player, but they're going to subtract. They're going to have to subtract at least 1, if not 2 people.
Well, let me ask you this, Coach. I just thought about it. You know how this transfer portal is, and kids are coming and going.
Right.
Do you think an incident like this would make a person go, man, I don't want to be a part of this. I'm getting out of here as soon as I can?
Heck yeah, because they look at their calling what we always talking about, culture. They said this is the wrong culture for me.
Coach, you cursing on the radio show.
I know that. When you say culture. I know when you bring up culture, that is profane. Yes.
Yes, sir. Well, look, I still got the candle burning.
Yep.
I got the lights on, and we're sending up timber. Yes, sir. We're sending up some timber. So let us try to sort through what's left of this men's bracket from the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Okay, well, this is, like I told you a few weeks ago, this is going out to the last weekend. I think it'll go to the last game because what you're looking at right now, Southern and Grambling are both tied at 10-3. All right? If I'm not mistaken, Grambling owns the tiebreaker because they won that first game against Southern. They won it by 17, which means that when you do the rematch, in order for Southern to get the tiebreaker, they got to win by 18. I don't see that happening. I do not see them beating Grambling by 18 points. All right, so both of them are tied at the top at 10-3. Then Jackson State and Southern and Alcorn now are all tied at 8-5. And then here's the big mess right here. At 7-6, you got Bethune-Cookman, Alabama State, Alabama A&M. They're 7-6. And then waiting in the rings is Arkansas Pine Bluff in that nice that would be the nice spot at 6-7. So the A seed is still up for grabs. The second seed is still up for grabs. The number 1 seed still up for grabs. This is going down to the end of the season. The last game of the season will determine what happens on the men's side.
Okay, well, Coach, now you mentioned everybody but my Panthers.
No,
you mentioned everybody but my Panthers.
I did not. Are you telling me I did not mention their names?
You mentioned the women. You didn't mention the men.
I'm sorry. They're at 5-8. They're okay. Your Panthers are in 10th spot right now at 5-8.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
At 5-8, they have to pick up 2 games to get to that 8th spot.
That's a tall order, Coach, with that schedule.
It is. But you got what? 2 of those games at home. You got your rival on the road, and you got 2 home games.
Yes, sir.
Anything can happen in that rival game, and
you defend
your home court.
Defend your home court. And as the song say, long as I got King Jesus.
Yes.
I don't need nobody else.
You will need him.
Yes, Lord. I hope he come with a 3-pointer that night, especially at home, to help do something. Or Sam Cooke, a change is going to come or something, Coach. Man, it's rough, and you hate to see that for Coach Smith. He's had such success.
Right. And
sometimes you hear people that are whispering, man, maybe it's time for Coach Smith. And I'm saying not so fast. No, but this is how fan bases get, though, Coach. This is how fan bases get. They'll be like, well, we paying them X amount of dollars, and this is what we getting, and blah, 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 blah. And fans are fans for a reason. They have short fuses, short memories. It's all about what have you done for me lately.
Right, and I thought they were right in the game with Southern. They were right there. Mm-hmm. I watched the game.
Well, Coach, they've been in the games. And defensively, they are sound. sometimes their shots are off. I think they rely too much on perimeter shooting, but they are a decent program. They're just not able to put it together, and they'll give up a lead, and they'll get within 2 or 4, then they'll give it back up. I guess they're exhausted from trying to dig out that hole, and then they just run out of steam.
Right. And I watched that Southern game, and I felt for Coach Smith because he was. You all were right there, and then Southern just made more plays at the end. That was a very competitive game. And on the men's side, last Saturday, Alabama A&M beat Mississippi Valley 80-57. Alcorn State beat Bethune-Cookman 69-54. Texas Southern lost to Grambling 66-63.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson State was at home when they beat Florida A&M 77-55. Arkansas Pine Bluff came into Montgomery. Now that was, to me, was an upset, beating Alabama State 80-74, and of course your Panthers lost to Southern at 77-71, and that was on Saturday. And then last night, Alabama A&M beat Arkansas Pine Bluff 75-67. Alabama State beat Valley 61-46. Alcorn State played host to Florida A&M and beat them 79-68. And then Grambling beat your Panthers last night 83-74. Jackson State beat Bethune by 1, 61-60. And Texas Southern beat Southern like they stole something from them. 68-56. Now that was a shocker to me. That on the men's side, I knew Texas Southern is coming. I knew that they're playing better, but the final score, the margin of victory is what puzzled me and surprised me.
Well, we talk about it all the time, Coach, in the likes of Johnny Jones. You cannot underestimate any team that he's leading. And like I said, we talked about last year, who wanted to see Texas Southern come in at a number 7 seed, number 8 seed? This is from my opinion, and I almost hate to admit this, but, it's the truth will make us free, Coach. We hear a lot about Southern and Grambling basketball programs. But as far as consistency, I would have to say Texas Southern by far has the best program on the men's side. And that's been easily, Coach, within the 15-year range, last 15 years so range.
Right, and I will concur. They have proven over and over again with 2 different coaches that they are the team to beat.
And you know where else they show up? They show up in attendance. They support basketball at Texas Southern University.
Oh yes. Yes.
So
now the one thing that's still puzzling, and once again this goes back to an eyesore for the conference. The leading scorer in the conference is Joseph, and he plays at Southern. He's not been on the court in the last 7 or 8 games. That has nothing to do with an injury. It has nothing to do with an injury. Nothing at all.
Would you dare take a guess at what you might think it is, Coach?
Oh, it's disciplinary. Yeah, he's not on the court for disciplinary reasons. And that, my friend, is the top player in this league.
Wow. Well, I'm wondering, is a message being sent? Okay, well, of course we're not going to tolerate your behavior. No person is greater than the team, but not to the point that you're going to cut your nose off to spite your face. You get your act together. We will make it to the tournament. And by George, when we get to this tournament, you better have your act together so we can go on and ride this pony to the championship table.
But the only sad part about that, Dr. Prince, you need to be with your teammates and competing so that you have some kind of continuity.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You got to have it. So that's when we talk about eyesores and things that are plaguing our league. On the men's side, you got one of the best players in the league that's not on the court.
Well, let me highlight this, Coach, if I can. If I can try to play the spin doctor. In today's time, with the portal and all these availabilities to jump here, there, and everywhere, at least this young man is willing to face the music, perhaps, not really sure, by still being associated on the team, and the coach does see the value in it, and maybe they had a gentleman's agreement, a man-to-man, heart-to-heart talk. I got to do this for the sake and the will of the program. We still would like you to be a part of it, and they agreed that this is the time stamp that we'll sit this out and try to come the way to bring this thing together.
Right. Well, I'm hoping that's what it is, because I would hate to see Southern lose their positioning in the SWAC because of their best players not there to help them. I would hate that. I would hate to see that, because right now Coach Johnson would be my choice for Coach of the Year, because he had that team in first place the entire year. And that's my only concern, is that that young man could be holding the team hostage, because with him on the floor, they are the clear-cut favorite in this league. And they've proven it through the last 7 games. I think they're 6-1 without him. So,
wow.
So that's a big thing. And then the other thing that you talked about earlier, you talked about attendance. Right now, Southern is leading the SWAC in attendance. Jackson State is second. Alabama A&M is third. Alabama State is fourth. Texas Southern comes in at 5th in attendance. And then Mississippi Valley is 6th. Arkansas Pine Bluff is 7th. Grambling is 8th. Alcorn is 9th. Prairie View is 10th. Florida A&M is 11th. And Bethune-Cookman has the lowest attendance. Now, these, what I just gave you came from the SWAC office.
Wow. Does it have an average number on there, Coach?
Yes. Southern's averaging 3,086 people a game. Jackson State is averaging 2,743. Alabama A&M is averaging 2,500. Alabama State is averaging 2,400. Texas Southern averaging 2,300. Mississippi Valley is averaging 2,000. Arkansas Pine Bluff is at 1,600. Grambling is at 1,100. Alcorn is at 1,100. Prairie View is at 1,000. FAMU is at 913, and Bethune is at 820.
And they got the smallest gym. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Their gym might hold 1,000 people on a good day. Might.
Yeah.
So when you look at that, that's 83% capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to always have a low number. I know the seating capacity for Prairie View standing room only is about 3,500. So they're about a third of the way filled. And Mississippi Valley seating capacity is 3,000 or so. So they're over half filled. Man, I got to say that word, that C word again. That plays a lot on recruiting. It plays a lot on morale and interest on campus, and I was talking to some old teammates of mine. There are so many things to do today that all we had was a sporting event, a dance, or somebody had movie night in one of the lobbies, and that's thrown out of the window. And the same thing that makes you laugh sometimes makes you cry, Coach.
Oh, yes.
Yes, the apartment living is nice, but it creates more isolation. People, I say, treat it like a prison sentence. They come to do their time, and they get in, do what they got to do, and they go on down the road. No interaction, and they're gone. But that's a whole nother topic, man. We got. I tell you what, Coach. I got some little wilderness on my property, right? Every now and then, I see a raccoon, a deer, but I'm going to have to get like Elmer Fudd and start hunting for some rabbits because I need not just one rabbit's foot. I need about 16 rabbit's feet. Okay, so we can try to make some change out. Now, I would invite you to come and help me hunt these rabbits down, but I don't know if you want to see my Panthers get some postseason life. But I need some help, Coach.
Well,
I need some help.
I think you're going to get it. I think both coaches know that they want to make that tournament, and I think they'll turn their people around because you got two of your remaining games at home. You got 2 games at home, and you got your rival. Your team's going to be pumped to play the rival, so anything can happen in that. So that's 3 of the games right there.
Okay.
And then this is a crucial road trip coming up. You all are at Pine Bluff, so this is a crucial road trip.
Yes, sir. And please don't let us. And I'm not discounting them, but don't let us slip up against Valley.
That would be. I'm gonna tell you something now. This toward the end of the season, Valley's men will be trying to make sure that they come away with a win.
No doubt.
They got to. Coach, and I saw him Saturday night. Ivory does not want to end the season without a win.
Yes.
So you got to be on point when you go in there.
And that's the thing, Coach, and maybe you can help. I was talking with some guys the other day. Can you remember where a basketball team went 0-12 or didn't win a game in conference play?
Yeah, your Panthers.
I'm talking about recent, Coach. Don't beat me up from way back. Don't beat me up from back here, Coach.
No. And then when you talk about the schedule, do you know Mississippi Valley's last 2 home games? Their last home game is against the Panthers because after that, they go to Pine Bluff, they go to Alcorn, and they go to Jackson. So when them kids look at that schedule, I'm going to tell you the game that they're looking at. Prairie View. They're looking at Prairie View. They got Texas Southern Saturday. They got Prairie View that Monday. That's the game that they're looking at now.
Wow.
That's the game they're looking at. And Coach Smith needs to be looking at that too.
Yes, sir.
Hey, guys, this is their last home game. They're going to be on point for us. We got to be ready.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My goodness. Well, Coach, you didn't beat me up this week, man. I don't even know how to respond, Coach. I don't know how to respond. Well, baseball season has started, Coach.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Yeah, Panthers had a strong weekend this past week against Grambling and against Texas Southern and Alcorn. But here's something for me, and I know I sound like a grumpy old man most of the time, and some people say, listen, I like the preseason games, but I don't like when we're playing each other, in particular in baseball. Because we're playing, most of these guys are from the West, okay? And it's almost like playing poker, Coach. Yeah, I want to win, but I can't show you or give you everything because soon we're going to be meeting up in conference play. I would rather that you brought in some teams from perhaps the MEAC or either up north that don't get a chance to play this time of year because of weather, that you could do it. It might not be a total HBCU twist on it, but it could highlight some of the teams. And even if you did some D2 programming, because it's baseball, it's not like basketball and football in most cases. I'm a bit apprehensive on. Then we're going to have the Andre Dawson Classic, and it's going to be a lot more the same thing.
Okay, or would you like a situation like happened here in Huntsville today, we played host to Tennessee Tech. And how about 10-0 in 7 innings?
Okay.
Tennessee Tech came in here and pounded us 10-0 in 7 innings. That's not a HBCU. I mean, that's not a conference team opponent.
No, it's not. But at least in that particular situation, you have a better gauge to play your real lineup because it is in a non-conference setting. These guys, you call it gamesmanship, right? Where you're gonna hold back just a tad. You still playing to win, but it's not the same. And I think you kind of
you're right because see, that's just like Jackson State today. Their baseball team, they're hosting Tougaloo. Florida A&M,
right.
They're hosting Troy University.
Right.
Bethune-Cookman they got FIU in there.
Right.
Today. Gramblin's at Louisiana Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what you gonna say later on tonight when your Panthers go and play Houston?
PVU, who you're rooting for? That's PVU. That's what I'm gonna say. But see, I personally, Coach, I can get a better gauge and a better feel, I should say, for who and what I have in the barnyard, if that makes any sense.
Right.
Because it's a competition. Well, let's be honest, we'll be a grade up. So, and not that the intensity level is not there playing my guys, but who wants to beat up on your brother and cousin when you can get together, be on the same team, and go play the guys across the street? You want to be able to get a real gauge for building your program when it counts.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
That's just me.
Now, didn't you deplete your pitching staff? You played Sunday. You beat Alcorn 15-14. You had to throw plenty of arms in that game.
I think it was 5 or 6 pitchers. And see, and that's another thing. You're gonna be experimenting with guys and pitching guys. I just rather do it outside of the HBCU. That's just me, because I want. And then let's be honest. We need all the RPI help that we can get. So let me go play some teams that might be a grade up, especially to start the season out. I understand in the mid-season you might host a couple of opponents that on paper you should handle with ease, but to come out the gate, I want to see what my team is made of. It's just like your case in basketball.
Right.
You go and play, they're money games, but they're games of other measures too, to see what type of rotation you can put together, to see how your guys deal under certain adversities, and then you use that as a building block as you get closer into your season play and, more importantly, your tournament play.
Right, and see, that's just like Alabama State Sunday. They hosted Valparaiso. They beat Valparaiso 9-1. Florida A&M hosted Eastern Illinois. They beat them 4-0. So see, these are out of conference wins that'll help the RPI for the SWAC.
Right, but see, if we're all doing that collectively, and please, I do understand the initiative of getting more African Americans involved in the sport of baseball. It's on a lifeline right now. I do understand that, and the convenience of being at Houston, the convenience of assistance from the Houston Astros. But I think you could have maybe 4 teams come from your conference and let them be the host institutions of 4 other teams, and you make sure that they play those other teams instead of beating up on each other. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. And it could be set up strategic. Baseball is such a sport that you can play a couple of teams twice, and play them double headers, the way you get your games in and your reps in for your guys to get their needed work to advance toward the opening of the conference play.
Yep. I think that'll work.
Yeah, and I'm that's just me, Coach, and I know people don't get excited about baseball like I do. And they'll tolerate it, but it's like Christmas for me. It's really like Christmas because it's nothing like, you mentioned that the Panthers, they were victorious on Sunday with a 15-14 walk-off. Now, that game had everything that you could imagine to happen in it, Coach, good, bad, and ugly. Some good defensive plays, some horrible defensive plays, wild pitches, hit by pitch, home runs, singles, strikeouts. It had everything, pitching changes. It was a 4+ hour game.
Wow.
Now, that is not a good message to the outsider who doesn't really understand the HBCU brand of baseball. But just like in your sport, basketball, good ball is good ball, right?
Right.
And I think you bring out the best when you're playing some guys that you're not going to see on the regular. Might be a step up for you. And in their case, that non-conference opponent, they're traveling down south for the first time or whatever arrangements they have to go through. And everybody is working inwardly toward an outwardly hopeful, prosperous adventure for their conference play.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that they should look at. Do the roundup with all the SWAC schools, 4 or 5 of them in one spot, but don't play each other. Rotate the other teams that come in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you would get what you need as far as exposure for the brand and exposure for your players to play other players. Because Coach, whenever you go and play somebody who you don't see on the regular, part of your prep, what you got. Okay, you say you think you that. Here's your opportunity to prove it.
Right.
Let's see what you're made of.
Right.
Because when you look at it, Alabama has some strong baseball ties as far as non-conference. You could say the same for Mississippi. You could say the same definitely for Louisiana, and of course of Texas and Arkansas even. So you got enough within your regional footprint.
Yep.
Yes, sir. That you can test those waters. And, and we're going to beat up on each other in conference. We're going to beat up on each other in tournament play. And then you got 2 preseason games, and all we're doing is beating up on each other. That's a lot. Now, then if we say, okay, well, let's just set it where we play each other all the time. Well, we need to be able to play our money, to make our money. We can't have the cake and eat it too, Coach.
Yep.
But enough of that. We gotta figure this out. We got the Legacy Bowl this weekend as well, Coach.
Wow.
The final, the final football game. It's going to be in Tulane. It's going to be at Tulane University, I believe. And these guys get a chance to increase their stock value.
Mm-hmm.
Those get some last-minute looks. But a lot of people will be focused on the game, but those scouts come through there for those drills. They come through there for the practice workouts, where they got time to really isolate and talk to some individuals and really see what these people are made of. And I think some guys have just increased their value this week, and hopefully no one gets hurt this weekend. I would rather that they would just go and have isolated events, and you could play the game, but because of the way injuries are today, I don't know if you should almost do it like you do the Pro Bowl, Coach, and have some skill position sets, or you play a game of flag football.
Right. Well, they're not gonna go to that flag because they got to be able to see. I think the part will be the drills, the practices, because I think the practices are set up to where they're showcasing the skills that they're looking for. In other words, the players are going through what the scouts actually need to see. The quickness, their timing. So those drills and those practices are set up so that they can evaluate that.
Right. And last but not least for this week, Coach, NBA All-Star Game.
What game? what game?
Yeah, well, you know, I
see better play in Huntsville, Alabama, in the summer league. I
yes,
see
sir.
More defense. I see more competition than what was displayed Sunday.
Right. Well, there was also something else on display. They were featuring this, I'm going to say, hieroglyphic floor.
Yeah, right.
Where, what was your take on that? Because tell you what some marketers were saying. They're talking about even finding a way to use that type of technology to do in-game branding for potential sponsors and advertisers. Right. What did you think about that floor?
Well, now you have to be very careful with that kind of stuff because you do know there are people that kind of stuff affects. The sensory, you have to be very careful with that kind of stuff because there are plenty of people who will be negatively impacted
right.
by those lights and that kind of stuff.
Right. Trip off all kind of seizures and everything, yeah.
Right. There are people that are on the spectrum that hurts them. That hurts them.
Yeah. Well, I'm also, to add to that, it's too gimmicky to me. And if you're going to draw people with gimmicks, you're going to have to keep them with gimmicks. You know, and how about just putting some better rules in to where your teams do play defense? You know, or something, or once again, just make it a skills competition for the entire weekend because that's all it was anyway. It wasn't even shoot-arounds, Coach. This was just, here you go, let's go.
Yep. I don't like that. They don't compete. They don't. I mean, it's not even. They play harder in what we call sandlot when it's just 5-on-5 and it's just shirts and skins. They play harder than they did in their uniforms, and that's not a good look to me. Not a good look.
Well, so we're in agreement that that's not a passing letter grade, then. No, that's not a passing letter grade.
That's a D minus. Absolutely D minus.
I know that's right. Well, Coach, time just gets away, man. We never have enough time, but I do want to give you some time for some closing thoughts and comments, sir. Anything you'd like to interject at this time?
Well, yes, I think in the sport of basketball, in the SWAC, these last 2.5 weeks are going to be, it's going to come down to the side, on the men's side, the champion. On the women's side, it's going to be deciding seeding because at this point, unless Jackson State just falls off the face of the earth, I think they got their number one seed, and I'm just looking forward to it. And then I'm looking forward to the tournament, so I'm already making plans for the SWAC tournament, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. We're definitely looking forward to it. We've been telling anyone who has an ear and a memory that it's going to be coming March the 13th through the 16th from Birmingham, Alabama. And look, man, I want to thank you, Lee, and Joshua in advance because it is always a blast, and you guys do an outstanding job. And I can't wait to hear how these games unfold, especially if my Panthers find a way to make it to the tournament. I would really, really be excited about that. But nonetheless, it's a labor of love from us, and we really thank you for your leadership and your assistance on this piece of our journey, sir.
Okay, well, thank you. And I had a blast with Lee and Josh on Monday over Saturday when Mississippi Valley came to Huntsville.
Yeah, but they told me you fed them like kings too.
Yeah, those are my guys. I like those guys. Yep.
Yes, sir. And they and I, we do a little bit more than like. We love you, Coach, and we truly appreciate you. And don't let nobody else try to tell you anything different, sir. He is our guru, the basketball king of kings, Coach Van Pettaway. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. I do want to remind you guys that you can follow me on X at The Mike Prince Show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Do visit our website, OBN Radio, for some 24-hour content, stuff that you may have forgotten that we've done. And matter of fact, I ran across the final homecoming game for Prairie View's Old Blackshear Stadium, 2014 against Alabama State. You get stuff like that on, as they say, the throwback Thursdays or whatever. It's throwback every day because we do that. And sometimes we give you some content that you didn't know that we did. It's always a little hidden treasure here and there. But I do want to thank you guys so much for joining in with us. The time has come where we must exit stage left. So until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.